Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and director Garrett Jordan. Ben was unfortunately unable to make it due to scheduling conflicts. He's out there working, but we wish him well and a very Merry Christmas and congratulate him on graduating as well as I. So this is being recorded and will be out before we both graduate, so we're excited for that. But a little normal show once again. So I guess in the spirit of a normal show, how was your guys' weekend?
Well, it's now what, Thursday?
Now, how was your guys' week?
Okay, we can go week.
It's finals week. If you guys are just this is the tip of the iceberg. What you see today, what's about to ensue throughout the next couple of weeks. We pre-recorded with the Beyond the Score podcast some fun videos. So.
Yeah, so the week hasn't been too bad. A little less stressful than I thought it was going to be when it came to my finals.
Say the opposite for me. I thought I was pretty much done when I came in on Monday, and I ended up getting 10 hours of sleep the last 2 nights. So.
Yeah. And then, good old negative Northcutt was like, oh, I'm going to fail this class. And I ended up getting like an 85 in the class. So I'm just like, man, if I would have just done that one project, I would have gotten an A. But hey, you know what happens, and you just move on and see what happens. Looking forward to my last 149 days here at NKU.
Counting them down, huh? Counting them down.
Not that I'm counting.
Garrett's got a lot more, but how was your finals week?
I feel like I lost like a good chunk of brain cells this week just from all the thinking I had to do. It was just kind of their time to go. My brain is so fried right now. I'm so ready to be done.
Yeah, no, I mean this is literally the last. I mean, I'm working a basketball game still, and I got graduation, so I guess there'll be thoughts done in that. But at least tomorrow, Friday, I get to edit this podcast, and then I'm done. I might just edit this one tonight. I mean, what's another all-nighter, you know? It's just my sleep schedule at this point. Now I know how you feel working the night shift.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's literally where I'm going. Yeah. The point where I'm wearing this. So.
But, getting into, the show, let's go ahead and start with NKU basketball because we're not going to be able to talk about them for a while. We will start with ladies first, as always. Currently 2-8. It's been a rough stretch. We started the season off playing against some tough teams, Middle Tennessee, Kentucky. We are Northern Kentucky, and then we played against Kentucky. That's a ranked team. Played at Marshall, got the win there, and that was a good win. We beat Cedarville, got those 2 wins. Looked like it might be a turning point, but then losses to Toledo, Southern Indiana, Bradley, Eastern Kentucky, and Cleveland State, and most recently Youngstown State. The one thing I noticed from these, Toledo was a loss by 3. By 3. Southern Indiana was a loss by 2. Bradley a loss by 5. And then Eastern Kentucky spread the gap a little bit, about 9. And then Cleveland State by about 13. And then I say about because I'm terrible at math, so I might be off.
No, you're right.
So far, so good, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. And then 9 for Youngstown State. So the Rising League seems to maybe have Jeff Hands' number here to start, but it's early in the season. I mean, we were just here last year. We went all the way up to 2-10 before we turned around and finished 10-14, I think. I don't know. But it's sad to see, but sometimes that's just a reality of a new head coach at a new level, at a new program. That first year may not work out. I don't think it's time to sound the alarm. We know Jeff Hands, once he has the program built, Rome wasn't built in a day. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, and in this case, it's just a rough start. But a lot of year left. They went out, they're like 22-8, so still a lot of year left to go, but definitely concerning start for sure.
I would just say if anyone is even remotely thinking about sounding an alarm, grow up. You're literally a child. He's been here for 10 games.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you both said. Nail, coffin, whatever you want to say. Nail on the head.
Wow, this is awesome. Because to start, I was the only one making comments like that, and now just everybody is making comments like that.
I think you're looking for either hit the nail on the head or the nail in the coffin.
The first one you said is what I was looking for.
Hit the nail on the head in the coffin. There we go.
No, see, I don't want to put a coffin on this team yet.
Yeah, you had the elements there.
So, but no, like you said, very close losses that can go either way, and those that Toledo, Southern Indiana, and Bradley stretch were all on the road. That's not easy, especially for a new team to go into maybe it's not crazy like top level D1 environments, but still a different gym and everything else. Obviously, they come back home on Sunday for Ball State, and then they head out to San Diego for maybe it's a little tournament, or maybe it's just a back-to-back game between.
I think it's like an invitational is what they call it.
Yeah. So between UC San Diego and LaSalle. So, like you said, I'm very interested to see the growth of this team as the season goes on. And you said before the show that you have seen progress. And as somebody who knows basketball better than me, because you played it and we watch it a lot more. I
know the one thing I'm an expert at is coaching changes and what that really means to a player and how that can kind of put them off their feet. And one thing to mention about those two games, those two Horizon League games, we are missing our best player arguably in Macy Blevins, and she averages 12 points a game. She gets 12 points at least. She can get more. She can even get less, but you're in that game. So missing a key piece is also probably a part of that. And I would have been interested to see what the game would have looked like with arguably your top scorer in terms of your number one ball handler out there. So I think this team is far from nail in the coffin or anything like that. I think they still have plenty of time to go. But I also want to give a shout out to freshman Kimora Morgan, who has won 2 Freshman of the Weeks, also has 9.8 points on the year, had a nice 21-point game against Cleveland State. And again, if you have Macy Blevins to get just around 10 to 12, who knows? But Haley, dang it, I watched Alex's pronunciation, so we'll say Hallie, sorry, for now, but I'll rewatch it after this show. She's also doing great with 13 points and 4.5 rebounds. And so that is the women's team for now. Again, yes, a grim start for sure, but I think they'll be able to turn the corner at some point. And you get to March, you never know what could happen. But moving along to the men's team, we've got some winning here recently. Just won a thriller against IU Indy last Saturday, 66-64, and then went up against the NAIA team of the University of Cumberlands, and they defeated them 98-79. Not gonna lie, kind of had me in the first half. The Cumberlands was keeping it close. Towards the end, NKU finally started to get a little separation, and then finally they definitely took over the game. But Trey Robinson, we talked about it on the podcast. I think there is a yes. Alex said that Trey Robinson, Horizon League Player of the Year, is something that could be stamped up there. And I honestly fully agree with him. You can put my name on that quote as well. Against the University of the Cumberlands, he had at least 25 points.
Yes, 25.
25 points exactly.
Yes.
At 25 points. And I think that is the 3rd game in a row. If I am quoting 4th game in a row, you got all the stats over there.
Yeah. So Robinson's last 4 games, 25, 19, 30, and 24. And then when you throw in rebounds, he did not lead this last time. That's Ijere. Ijere, yes. Led this game with 11. However, Robinson before that, 6, 5, 8, and 12. So he's been the best player on the team so far this year. Obviously, I saw Sam did not play yesterday.
So they sat him because of his injury. They're playing like 4 games in 12 days or something across those lines. It was like 3 games and 3 games on, and there's something to do with just his load management to put it frank. And Wes, shout out Wes Akers, actually made an interesting point. Horn's very adamant about Sam going out there and playing like he doesn't have an injury and getting back comfortable. The first one probably isn't the way to say it, but and then to have him sit, but it was against the NAI team. That's fair.
Yeah.
So
sound like you're going to say something, Garrett?
Yeah. No, I was just. For me with Trey Robinson, I think I've seen a lot of growth from him, especially between last year and this year. Just stuff I'm noticing this year. His on the court IQ seems a lot higher this season than it was last season. I think we can all agree last season we saw Trey take some pretty interesting shots.
Yes.
I think this year he's doing a really good job of limiting those types of shots that everyone kind of looks at and goes, "What? Why?"
Yeah.
He's doing a better job limiting that.
I would agree with that. One thing I would add is I feel like he's just more comfortable in the way he plays. I feel like he's just more comfortable in the shots he's taking. I think sometimes he would take shots and it would just look forced and not like, why would you take that? And now he's just more fluent, more comfortable in the shots that he takes. And he's gone from the 3rd, potentially 4th scoring option on this team, and now the first, really, if we're being honest. Sam Benson could take that back. But, this team's turning a corner. They got Norfolk State this Sunday. It's a doubleheader with the women's team. Who that Norfolk State game is at 1. Women's team will tip off at 3:30. And then looking to the next week, they go back into conference play, playing against Detroit Mercy, December 18th, Wednesday. And then the women's, their next game after that would be, hold on, I have the stats pulled up. Oh my God,
Which game
you
you
got
talking
it?
about?
Oh, I got it here. UC San Diego and LaSalle. I think you did mention that you did mention that. So I'm sorry for repeating what you said.
It happens.
It happens, especially when you've heard so many different spiels today. But I know you guys have some other stuff you want to talk about in the opening lineup here.
I'm gonna say absolutely. First things first. College football, the big news. Dan Mullen going to UNLV, right? Okay, no, it's not. It's Bill Belichick has found a new home in North Carolina. Garrett, what is your thoughts on Billy B taking over UNC and following in his dad's footsteps?
I genuinely have no idea, because there's never been a time in my life when Bill Belichick was a coach in college, except maybe when I was like 1 or 2. And even then, I think he was already in the NFL at that point. So obviously we all know his pedigree from the NFL and his time with the Patriots. So it'll be interesting to see if he brings that sort of similar dynasty mindset to the Tar Heels. I know they haven't always had the best football program. They've kind of been
They're a basketball program, man.
Yeah, they're a basketball program. You're right, and their football program has kind of been like middling over the past couple years. They've had a couple seasons where they've gotten 8-9 wins.
They've had some good talent out there. I'll give them that.
I mean, Drake May,
Josh Downs.
Yep, Josh Downs. That's an empty chair.
Hello,
Mr. Potato Man. There he is.
Let him talk. Hello, Hand. Let him talk.
Oh yeah, no, that's It'll be interesting. I think having Bill Belichick as your coach is definitely going to. I mean, obviously name wise alone is going to get you to land some more of that talent. So I think we'll start to see more of those Drake Mays and Josh Downs coming out of UNC, depending on how long he does coach there. I'm not sure what the parameters of his new deal are, if you know, Josh.
Yeah, no, unfortunately I haven't looked deep into that yet. Okay. But I can for a later show. But
you were also telling me off camera that he's bringing a lot of his staff over, right?
That's what a lot of people are hearing.
I saw a report that said he apparently walked into the AD's office and handed him like a 400-page document or something like that, detailing exactly what he wants.
Yeah, no, he's got a plan, dude. And I'll tell you now, that document, maybe some big NIL people at North Carolina have read some of it. Mm-hmm. But overnight, the football program raised $20 million for NIL, which is the 4th largest in all public teams. Because if you're a public school, you have to release your NIL numbers. So, as of right now, $20 million is basically his salary cap. He's allegedly bringing Mike Lombardi to be his GM and also scout. Well-known, respected around the NFL for his past GM experience. We talked about it before the show, all of us. I have a hard time being an elite recruit thinking if Bill walks into my house, say I'm a quarterback, and he's like, hey, real fast, let me make a phone call. Here, talk to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
What? I mean, that's obviously got to be hashed out and everything else. Or, hey, let talk to Wes Welker. Julian Edelman, Teddy Bruschi. I can't think of the D end that's also a Hall of Famer for New England. At least he's in the New England Hall of Fame. But it's just there's so much there that I'm very interested and very intrigued. Because I won't say I'm a North Carolina football fan, but this intrigues me. Like, I'm hoping somehow ESPN picks up some kind of special and whatnot. But I know I joked beforehand, but I don't think the UNLV Dan Mullen thing is an understatement to be slept on. Dan Mullen can recruit. He has a history of doing it at Florida, obviously. Mm-hmm. He's the one who helped find Tebow. He's the one who helped find Cam Newton. At Mississippi State, he turned Dak into a pro. It'll be interesting to see how he handles all of that. If nobody else, though, has anything to talk college football wise when it comes to this, there is some baseball hot stove winter movement that has been pretty insane.
Yes.
So the A's spent most money they ever have in franchise history and signed Luis Severino. The Dodgers deferred more money and find a way to find Blake Snell and I believe it's Mike Conforto. Also, Red Sox blockbuster trade when it comes to prospects to get Garrett Crochet. is it William Adames or Willis?
Willie
Adames signed a big deal with the San Francisco
7-year,
Giants.
182.
And also said he wants to win World Series. Max Fried, despite his injury past, signed a huge deal with the New York Yankees.
8 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8 years. I want to say it was like $218 million. Tyler O'Neill to the O's, which is a big bat, which helps because the O's were struggling towards the end of the year, and why their fall off was consistent bats. But the team that has stole the headlines, and I can't wait to hear Garrett's thoughts on this. Montas Holmes, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard, Garrett. Holmes is going to be a starter. They're
Really?
not going to put him in the pen. He's not closing. He's not setting up Diaz. They told Holmes, if you sign with us, you're going to start. And then some guy named Juan Soto decided to sign with the New York Mets, which, man, oh man, if you've seen some of the TikToks of New York fans, Yankees fans losing their minds, it's made it so well worth it.
Yeah, seeing Yankees Juan Soto jerseys burning in the streets is something that has been gracing my feed throughout the past since he signed, really. But no, this is Steve Cohen doing exactly what Steve Cohen said he was going to do. He is spending big money, and he wants to bring a World Series to Shea Stadium. That's the old one.
Do you believe that kind of move you're so used to my voice being there, isn't it?
I am. I'm just the muscle memory. My middle finger just goes right there.
Yeah. So the question is, do you think they made enough moves to be a contender next year? Because it sounds like Peter Alonso is done in New York now. Not so much New York, but done with the Mets.
I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to see more. I mean, obviously signing Juan Soto is going to be a big deal. If I remember correctly, it was 15,765.
Yeah, stupid money.
15,765, and I think there's some incentives in there. They can get them up to 800 mil, which I do the math. It's a lot of money. You don't even really need to do the math. Just understand that it's a hell of a lot of money. But I mean that outfield is starting to look kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah. So.
I mean, Juan Soto out there, Tyrone Tracy. I'm not sure if Harrison Bader is going to re-up with them or not.
No, but they got Brandon Nimmo.
They got Brandon Nimmo out there too. So Nimmo and Soto in the corners, and then Taylor up center. From what I saw, Soto and Lindor on the same team is going to be fun to watch. Those are two electric bats. I mean, I think obviously the Mets get better with this signing. There's no way they get worse from signing one of the best players in baseball right now. So it'll be exciting to see how the Mets now will compete within their own division, to me, more so than competing for World Series. Because I think they've always kind of had World Series aspirations, but it's like the Phillies and the Braves have kept them out of it. So they need to focus on beating the Phillies and the Braves first before we can move on to World Series. But I think with these signings that they're starting to make, and something tells me they're not done, which is crazy, but these signings are being made because they want to win their division.
I'm going to say, fun fact, and then we can move on to the winner circle. The deal that Juan Soto signed for is double the amount that Reds owners are worth.
And it's for that reason that Juan Soto is my winner circle pick this year. I'm not a baseball fan. I haven't spoken in 5 minutes, but that was my plan going in here. Like, that dude is winning this week. He's winning next week. He's winning the next year. He's winning the next decade, and even 5 years after that. So, yeah, Juan Soto, my winner this week.
It's so funny to me to look back now 2 years ago when the Washington Nationals offered Juan Soto 15 for $445 and tried to get him to stay in Washington, and he was like, "Lol, no." But it's crazy the amount of money difference you see between these teams. I mean, the Nationals literally probably emptied out every penny in their bank account to try and get Soto to stay, and Steve Cohen was like, "Here you go."
Yeah, it pays to have rich owners.
Yeah.
Bezos by the Reds.
Please.
Do you have a winner circle?
Us. We made it, guys. It's the end of the semester. We did it.
You know, nicely done. Very nicely
beautiful.
done.
That is beautiful.
I was going to say, I'm going to just add to that real fast. Obviously, Colton and Ben, congratulations on your guys' graduation.
Thank you.
It's got to be an awesome feeling, not that I'm counting 149 days. But now I'm going to get a little biased here, and these are the two stories that I've been kind of hinting and telling you all about. So first off, yesterday/today, the Ohio State AD was interviewed and said that Ryan Day is not going to be losing his job, and they have created a good friendship and companionship that he plans on him being back in 2025. So winner circle goes to obviously Michigan Wolverine fans, because you know what, the man we own is coming back. However, the whole Ohio is getting softer than Charmin, and they're creating a new Charmin. It's called Buckeye Charmin. Buckeye Charmin soft, however you want to say it. Ohio State's AD revealed the new strategy to beat Michigan will be to de-emphasize the game, to act like the game is just another game. We're just going to take emphasis off of it. Not that there's going to be a sign hanging up there that counts down to the days until the game happens. I'm going to let you know right now. In Ann Arbor, that game's still going to matter. When we recruit kids, we're going to tell kids, you're coming to Michigan to beat Ohio State. That's why you're coming here. And you know what? That's a bold strategy. However, the funnest part of all, on Tuesday, State Representative Josh Williams introduced a House Bill 700, also known as OHIO Sportsmanship Act. If passed, the law will prohibit planting a flagpole and flag in the center of Ohio State Stadium field on the day of a college football game, and the name of the act is blah, blah, blah. It'll be a 5th-degree felony. How soft can you get?
Please, that is softer than Charmin soft, my friend.
Bro, dude, what are we doing?
When I saw that, I was like, is this like an onion post? What's going on?
No, I thought the exact same thing.
Dude, I went everywhere, and I was like, did both of them. I was like, how's the AD already talking about bringing Ryan Day back with all this heat on him? And then how are you going to say de-emphasize the game? Like, but mind you, this is the same AD that didn't want to play Texas every year while he was at A&M, because he just doesn't understand rivalries and he's there to make money. Well, you know what? Rivalries make money, dude. But no, the Ohio lawmaker, I've won this week.
Yeah,
you're soft.
Yeah. Dude, you've won the whole year.
Yeah.
It's like, until there's changes made. Yeah. Exactly.
You got them so mad they tried to make it illegal.
A 5th-degree felony?
Yes.
All right.
It's up to a 1-year prison time. 1 year.
1 year in prison for planting a flag is crazy.
Tell you right now, 2 years from now, if that became a law and it happens, I'm running on the field and I'm planting the flag.
Baker Mayfield can never survive.
Dude wants free food.
Baker Mayfield can never survive in this day's environment of college football.
Oh my God, no kidding. Could not survive in the current state. But yeah, so that's our winner's circle. We're going to go ahead and move along to some college basketball. It was a really good week. I wish I wasn't so busy with all my finals and work that I could have sat down and watched most of these, more so than just highlights and analysis. But I want to go ahead and start at the beautiful day we had last Wednesday, not the most recent Wednesday, but last Wednesday. That was during the ACC and SEC challenge.
That was not fun.
It was a lot of fun, and we'll start with the game between the Big 12 and Big East, actually, because that was also going on at the same time. We had number 18, UConn, barely beating Baylor, getting back, I guess, in the good graces of college basketball. But to me, I don't think this Baylor team's all that good, so it's not necessarily the biggest win to me. We'll go ahead and move on to the second game here, which is number 7, Alabama, over UNC 94-79.
Yeah, you notice there's not a number next to that name anymore either.
Yep, it didn't say a number. So, and then my favorite game of that week that I definitely had to tune into, at least for some portions, definitely the end. Number 3, Iowa State, and number 6, Marquette. Iowa State is my favorite team outside of Purdue this year. They were last year as well. They're just a really fun team, and I will tell you right now, this offense looks different. That was their weakness last year. If they have an average offense, to combine with that lethal defense, I think they possibly win it all, and I think they definitely absolutely have a chance to win it all this year. They defeat Marquette, who's still a great team, 81-70.
I was going to say 2 other games that day, not to steal your thunder. Duke beat the team that I've been extremely high on, Auburn, 84-78, absolute dominant performance by Duke, and Cooper Flag is the absolute truth.
Yep.
And then Creighton, despite all the craziness, upset Kansas, 76-63. Always a big win for Creighton and their battle of the Midwest plantation land.
I always find myself pulling for Creighton. I don't know why.
Yeah, you don't have any stake in them in football.
I don't have it. Yeah, they don't have a football program. I don't care.
What is interesting, and I noticed Creighton's currently unranked. They drop a game.
They've been going down left and right. They've
A lot of injuries.
Yeah, their star player, I can't think of his name right now. Cockbrenner? No, that's
Kalkbrenner.
Kalkbrenner.
Is he still there?
Yeah,
That's one that's still there.
The big 7-footer, the one that
My
started
fault.
the year off really, really hot.
I don't know why I got him in Sharman.
He's been injured quite a bit. So
Okay. Well, that'll hurt. But moving on down the list here, another big game on that Saturday. We will just skip over Thursday. Nothing interesting happened there.
No. We'll talk about Penn State upset Purdue.
88 Marquette over number 20 Wisconsin. Wisconsin was kind of a darling. I'll be honest, dude. I was so busy I didn't even see that game. Oh, that's right. We ended up going to Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was watching some of it, and then I just kind of saw where it was going. I just tried to save
Bro
myself
decided
the
he wanted to
pain.
watch the commercials
And
instead.
and then I walked into where we watched Thursday Night Football, and on the big screen was Purdue Penn State, and I literally made sure I had my back to that game. But anyways, Marquette Wisconsin was a game I was very intrigued about, as you know, Marquette obviously knocked off Purdue, but Wisconsin had been the darling here to start, got a lot of wins early. Marquette ruled out the victory here, 88-74. So Marquette just a step above Wisconsin, and I do think Wisconsin was a little bit fraudulent. They had a hot start, but I don't know if they have what it takes the full season. They'll definitely be a tournament team though, and I'm curious. They have obviously one of the best players in the country there. So lastly, some wild kitten team. That's rude because Ben isn't here to defend himself.
No, he's not here to defend him. They deserve respect for that
They
win.
do. A big 90-89 win. A Gonzaga team I had very high regard for and still do. Just sneaking away does the Wildcats. And now they're up to number 5 in the country. And Alex said it like they actually make adjustments now. And I think a Kentucky team that makes adjustments is a very scary team. But anything you want to talk about from last week before we get into this week?
Also on my birthday, Missouri upset Kansas.
They did,
was a
didn't they?
really bad week for Kansas basketball.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no.
Shout out Marquez Work, former or still a Norse legend.
Yeah, so no, that was the big one, and then. UCLA upset Oregon at Oregon. That was kind of another one. But the one and I'm rambling now, Jesus. The one I really wanted to mention though, Memphis lost to Arkansas State. I don't know Arkansas State had a basketball program.
Well, I do because I watched them give Alabama a test, and I was like, I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind once tournament season rolls around, and that's going to be added to the notebook.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, that was one. They went into Memphis and upset Memphis, which the podcast I listened to was talking about it and said that Arkansas State had to have that game circled all year when they saw it because it's not exactly a rivalry, but it somehow became a rivalry. Don't ask me how it happened.
I know. Well, Memphis is right on the border of Tennessee and Arkansas.
Okay, so maybe that's it.
It could be pretty close. I don't know where Arkansas State, is located, but
They're in like the northeast corner of Arkansas, I think. So they're fairly close campuses.
okay.
Also, Quez had 0 points in that upset.
Yeah, I didn't want to tarnish NKU legend's name here on the Norse Benchwarmers, but.
Leave it to
All right, leave it to Garrett. But yeah, shout out UCLA. I mean, anytime you got Mick Cronin as your head coach, I think you always have a shot. I think I have respect for him.
He is a very good coach, but I just think he's too old school for this nature nowadays. I don't know if he can get hard.
I feel like he's just one of those guys that, like his teams are just one of those teams that any given year they could sneak out a run.
I mean, they did that one year,
which they have. So. Maybe this is one of those years, but I need to watch some UCLA basketball. I need to watch a lot of basketball. I'm so excited.
They are ranked 24th now.
They are. All the basketball in the world, though. I was just so excited. But Michigan fell to Arkansas 89-87 this Tuesday. Michigan had been ranked as high as 14th. They'll likely probably fall after that loss. But shout out to Arkansas. I mean, definitely getting there's a lot of eyes with Cal as the head coach, of course. But they got a quality win against the Michigan Wolverines team with a new coach as well, Dusty May. A very close, very exciting matchup between these two teams. And the Razorbacks got the dub.
But that is one thing. When we talked all the coaches changes and this and that, I said if Dusty was be allowed to get his recruits in there and get transfers in there and his kind of players in there, that they could be good. And it's night and day difference from what that Michigan team was last year and what this Michigan team is now. Do I think they're the 14th best team in the country? Probably not. But what Dusty has done there is very, very impressive.
The thing about basketball is I think there's definitely more. You don't have to have as many high quality talent players to succeed, as opposed to. I mean, obviously that's the case, but I think really you can, with a solid foundation, you can do just about anything. But one last thing I want to give a shout out to, because we don't care about Kentucky and Colgate or San Diego State and CA Baptist. Illinois upsetting number 20 Wisconsin, a team that I just mentioned. I feel like is kind of was a darling in the early season, but I feel like they're just going to fizzle out, and they probably will come back when it gets closer to March. But Illinois is a team that's not getting a lot of buzz this year, but I think they're going to be right around that top 25 area, and quality win at home here against Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think the thing that you're most looking forward to talk about is Saturday and the slate.
Yes.
I know you'll have a little graduation. I don't know how it falls in the schedule.
It actually works out perfectly.
Yes.
It is 10, and they're typically about 2.5 hours. So I'll miss the beginning of the Purdue Texas A&M game, which is fine because with Purdue this year, I have no idea whether I should or shouldn't watch a game. So I will know by the time I get out of graduation. But yeah. May I please list out this slate?
Go right ahead.
We have a now unranked Memphis going up against number 16 Clemson. That starts at 11 a.m. I see that as a very interesting game. I'm interested to see this Clemson team the year after making a good run last season. So excited to see how that expands. And then, like I said, Texas A&M, Purdue, they tip off at 12 p.m. believe that one's at Purdue. They're listed as the home team, but I didn't know if it was like an invitational.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse
right.
for the Indy Classic.
Oh, that's right. I must say I do miss the old. They call it Hardwood Classic or something like that. I don't even know why I can't think of it, but that's when they played Indiana. Indiana played Butler, or Indiana Purdue either played Butler or Notre Dame, and they flipped back and forth. Like, that was just always a fun event.
Yeah, I've always said Ohio.
Crosstown. They call it Crosstown something.
Yeah, the Ohio needs to do that, and I've always said that. Like, if you just took Xavier, UC, Dayton, and Ohio State, and the four of them just played. And nowadays, you can just turn it into an NIL event.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun weekend of college basketball, but I'm assuming with the way UC and Xavier are supposed to play each other every year, it won't work out. So
yeah, I think it's interesting. You throw in like an Akron team. I think Akron's a really fun MAC team in that Ohio conference, but that's just a random thought. Auburn, number 2, going up against Ohio State. You literally just mentioned it. I'll let you say it. Crosstown shootout.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Xavier, UC on Saturday. I'm disgusted that I got the ESPN Plus game.
That got ESPN Plus?
That's crazy.
Probably the second biggest.
I want to fight somebody.
Yeah, that's what that's what the rivalry has become. UC hasn't won enough. And, I mean, I can get that. They need to send the message. Like, they are on the hot seat. What we didn't mention is UC lost to Villanova during our little break of spiels, which is a very bad loss.
Yes, that's true.
UC needs to get this win and get right. Xavier got slaughtered by that Michigan team we just talked about. So it's one of those things that both teams are kind of coming in easy, but there's no business. And I get it, we're biased. We grew up around this area, even though I guess you're not so much biased because you're from Indiana. Xavier UC has no business being ESPN.
No,
Plus
I mean
game.
you saw the anger.
And the one thing I'm curious about, and I don't know if I can look to find, like locally, some people don't have ESPN Plus.
I would say more people don't than do.
That's what I'm saying. So you're telling me that like this game can't be watched in Cincinnati? Like Fox couldn't have picked it up?
I mean, some bars aren't even going to have ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
It's not even going to be on like cable or nothing?
No, it is ESPN Plus that day because how loaded this slate is, they just threw it to the back burner.
Now, there's got to be some like local antenna channel picking it up.
I'm telling you, as of now, everything I saw, there's not.
That's crazy.
Wow. That is absolutely insane. I mean, you need to tell me Wisconsin Butler's a better game?
Well, I mean that's a Big Ten network, so you can't really get upset about that.
Oh, I can.
Ohio State, Auburn. That's the ESPN Plus. ESPN2's UCLA,
ESPN
Arizona. NC State, Kansas getting ESPN like that. That you can
yeah.
3:15 slate.
Flip that one right there. NC State's fine this year. Kansas is a slipping though. No, but it's just because it's Kansas, whatever. Arizona State is actually a pretty interesting team. They had one of the toughest strengths of schedules, and they only had dropped 2. Now that was at a certain point. I don't remember what it is now, but going up against Florida. So don't sleep on the Sun Devils to upset Florida before they upset Oregon in the college football playoff. Oh, wait. And then moving on down, though, we have another rivalry I guess people care about. I'm sure that's on a big network.
ESPN.
Yeah. Louisville versus Kentucky may actually be a game this year, but probably not.
Have you seen the post-game presser that Louisville's coach, why can I not think of his name right now? It's going blank. He's from Cincinnati. Pat Kelsey.
Yeah.
Just had, like, the press... Dude, go back and just listen to it, because he goes kind of into a spiel just to make up what it is. They asked him, like, how did you feel about sleeping through the UTEP game? Because they didn't come out and they didn't dominate UTEP, but they still won. And he's like, well, this is how you do it. Basically, he was taught as a kid, he would always ask his dad, like, hey, Dad, do you have to go to work? And his dad would respond, and cliche as it sounds, it's a work ethic, and it gets you fired up. Hearing Kelsey talk about it was, I get to go to work. I get these free shoes. I get to have a hot wife, and that had me dying laughing. Had me dying laughing. He's like, I get to play in the KFC Yum or coach in the KFC Yum Center. He's like, I get these things that I'm privileged of, and these kids get the same thing. And then somebody went into a spiel that these seniors only have 30 games, and then they have 29 games, and then you get 28 games. It's not what you have to do. It's what you get to do. And, man, I can't stand Louisville. He went to Xavier, and he went to Elder, which West Side kid, Oak Hills High School. But this dude, like, I've fallen in love with him as a coach. I would want to play for this guy. Like, I'm talking like top 5 favorite coach in college basketball right now, and maybe in all sports. Just something about him is so contagious, from the video of him walking through campus earlier and then this post game. And I mean, Lord help if they upset Kentucky.
Oh, boy.
Lord. So
that's not us. But moving on down here pretty quickly, I just want to list off some. Gonzaga and UConn. That's a big game, big measuring stick game for both teams. Good place for UConn maybe to get some respect back. And then another rivalry, the what do they call it? Oklahoma State. Bedlam, yeah. Oklahoma State, haven't heard much about them this year.
Garrett,
but
they can play each other in basketball, but not in football.
Yep. Well, you have a little more time on the schedule. But and then a very intriguing matchup that I'll wrap it up with is Creighton against number 7 Alabama. We talked about they are slipping. What better way to get back into the rankings with the upset win against an Alabama team that from game to game has looked a little spotty. I mentioned against Arkansas State they had some struggles. So if Creighton can be healthy and get it together, I think they absolutely are a threat to Alabama.
And there's one more game I want to mention. I don't know if you accidentally overlooked it because it doesn't look big.
Oh, Marquette and Dayton.
Marquette and Dayton.
That's
and
actually
Marquette
huge.
going to UD. Like that, man, if I didn't have to work Saturday night, I'd be tempted to go up there and do like a doubleheader basketball game across town and then go up to watch Dayton, because that it's not that the fact it's even neutral. Like, Dayton got big Marquette to come to them. I mean, the fans are going to be going crazy. And Dayton, they impressed me out in Maui.
So they're a very impressive team out in Maui. And I think they proved they're going to be one of those tournament teams that you don't want to play in March. And now you got Marquette playing them in the month of December. So I would also add number 1 Tennessee versus Illinois.
That's one Tennessee.
That feels wrong because Purdue owns them, so they're number 2. B, I feel like that's definitely an upset watch, because I feel like Tennessee, just the history of their program across all sports is, all right, we're at the top. We're not going to stay up here very long. We gotta lose this game pretty soon.
Between the sport and Rick Barnes.
Yeah, so I don't bet, but I'm gonna take a look at the odds after this. So. It'll be interesting. And throughout the week, there's definitely some interesting matchups. UNC trying to get back on the good graces against Florida, Clemson, South Carolina, Michigan State, Oakland. Oakland was a darling in the playoffs, or almost made it to the Sweet 16 last year. And Xavier, UConn, Toledo, Houston. That's just on the list. Michigan, Oklahoma. That's a ranked matchup as of today. Nichols and Gonzaga. That's funny to see. Butler, Marquette, Dayton, Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, no, that we got that game. That's down at U.S. Bank or Heritage. Yep. Showing my age there, calling it U.S. Bank, but yeah, Heritage Center.
I remember it as U.S. Bank. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So no, there is so much good college basketball. Like you said, now that finals are over and everything else, now we just get to sit back and enjoy and watch some beautiful, beautiful college basketball.
Sorry, I just realized we have Auburn next Saturday. Purdue.
Bad news for you.
We'll see about that. We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow or Saturday against Texas A&M. But I think that's enough for the college basketball section there. Let's go ahead and move along because we're doing a little combined show with the NFL with all the finals. We just did not have time to do our NFL show as per usual. So we are going to just go ahead and slap that in here. We want to start by talking about some NFL scores from last week. I'll start with that Thursday night football game, though, because that's what I was out watching instead of the Purdue game. The Lions, huh? What'd you say?
Shut
up. Lions got 2 Thursday night football games in a row.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. Lions
because of Thanksgiving.
Oh, right. So the Lions won against the Packers 34-31. You picked the Lions in that game, didn't you?
No, I took the Packers.
I would say, I think I took the Packers. Garrett,
I had the Packers as well.
It wasn't on the schedule, but you said the Packers
off
as well.
Camera, yeah,
off camera. So
Fourth down
the Lions,
I mean, Dan Campbell has the biggest balls in the NFL.
It's
No
literally
question.
that scene from South Park.
Yes.
Where he just testicles in wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that is literally Dan Campbell. The Packers gave a good effort against probably currently the best team in the NFL, I would say, and that's nothing to slouch about. And anything you want to say about that game?
They're
Is that funny, Garrett?
They're a very scary team. Like more and more I see them play, more I'm believing that they might be. I still can't put them the best team in the NFL. Can't do it. The Chiefs are breathing. They're 15.
Not just because you win doesn't mean you're the best team in the NFL.
They got 15. They got 87. They got Andy Reid. So until they eventually lose in January and February, I can't say anybody's better than them. But I do believe they are the best team in the NFC the way I'm watching them play right now.
Well, I mean, record-wise, that would be correct.
Thanks.
That was a Garrett thing to say.
Another game, though, I wanted to talk about was the Vikings and Falcons.
Absolutely.
A game that I very much looked forward to. Thought Kirko would go out and basically do what Sam Darnold did.
He went out and did nothing.
Sam Darnold, on the other hand, 22 of 28, 347 yards, and 5 tutties. He threw it to Addison. He threw it to Jetta. The Vikings are scary, man. Like that AFC or NFC North teams are they're terrifying. And when I want to give up on the Vikings and they come out and do this, but maybe it's just the Falcons starting to slip because Kirk Cousins has not looked normal and good over the last month.
Yeah, I agree. They looked like they had turned a corner there towards the second month of the season, and then they turned another corner back down the hill. So this Falcons team is not looking good really on all cylinders, and they now have lost the division lead, if I'm not mistaken, to the Buccaneers, who we kind of called dead to rights after losing both their wide receivers. But, hey, if Godwin's back at the end of the season, I absolutely think and Mike Evans, even though he's back, correct me if I'm wrong, I know he's on your fantasy team, Garrett. He's kind of been sort of back and forth, so not 100% is the word I'm finally found after looking for it. But yeah, so Buccaneers, shout out to them, beat the Raiders that week.
And then Seahawks took a little bit more of a grasp of the NFC West by sweeping the Cardinals 30-18. Zach Charbonnet runs a career-high 134 yards and 2 touchdowns, leading the way. Kyler didn't have a horrible game. 25 of 38, 259, 2 touchdowns. JSN, Garrett, has he passed DK as the number 1 guy there? Or do you think they're just still 1A, 1B?
Garrett will not give up on DK.
I still won't give up on DK, but based on this season, it kind of looks like JSN is the number 1 option out there. I don't know. I think it might have had to do with DK's knee, that injury that he had 5 or 6 weeks ago that kept him out for 1 game. I just don't know if he's looked the same since that weird fall that he took.
Fair
enough. JSN is looking like all elite level right now. He's just consistent in every game.
Do you think the Seahawks are contenders at all in the NFC, or do you think it's just one of those they're still probably a quarterback away from being elite?
No, Gino, I love you, but you're definitely a stopgap quarterback. The Seahawks are looking for their next guy that's going to be their franchise guy. Geno is being very serviceable right now in that stopgap position. We're being aided by some of the injuries that are happening in the division, and I think that's part of the reason why they're at the top. But another part of the reason is, like, yes, while I do think Geno is a stopgap quarterback, he is running this offense well. And the running back's obviously running well. He's finding receivers, and they just keep finding ways to win. So, yeah.
That's all it takes. But I wanted to shift the conversation to a continued surprise, I guess, here with the Carolina Panthers. I mean, 3 weeks in a row, all losses, but all losses within a point to the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and now did I say a point? I'm going to score. Yeah, against the Philadelphia Eagles, 22-16. Bryce Young went 19 of 34, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. I mean, that's.
Do you think they're going to give Bryce another year? Because he's played well enough the last 3 weeks.
I think they should. I can't answer if they will.
I think they need to wait and see how the rest of this season goes, and if he continues playing at the way that he's playing, I think he will have earned at least one more year.
I agree.
So, because that was going to be my next question. Like, they're sitting at 3-10 right now. There's a crap ton of teams 3-10. It's literally like 6 different teams in the league. At 3-10, they're not pick 1 or 2, which would probably be Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Would you take Bryce Young over both those quarterbacks?
That's a good question.
Honestly, no.
I think I'd take him over Cam. Maybe I'm not buying Cam enough and I need to watch him more. I don't think I'd take him over Shedeur.
I feel like Cam is a more refined Anthony Richardson right now.
No. Disagree.
Okay. What do you think, Garrett?
Cam Ward doesn't run.
Okay.
I mean, he did, though, at Washington in Incarnate World or wherever it is he came
Incarnate
from.
Word.
Incarnate Word. I mean, he has ran before.
That's honestly news to me.
He's ran before, but Richardson looks like a more natural runner to me, if that makes sense. I don't know if the running is going to translate to an NFL front seven.
Let me rephrase. When Anthony Richardson came in, he was getting comparisons to Josh Allen. Am I not mistaken?
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of see that comparison to Josh Allen, where it's a very, I guess that's the comparison I should have made, where it's a very raw prospect, but I feel like he's more refined. He's more closer to Josh Allen than that of Anthony Richardson. Let's hear what Garrett has to say.
Here's a take. While I do think that's a good comparison, I think a better comparison for Cam Ward, and I'm going to get flamed for this, but I don't care, is Ben Roethlisberger. Because Ben Roethlisberger was a primarily pocket passer, but he was able to move around in the pocket effectively and escape the pocket while not making a tremendous amount of runs downfield. And I think that's more what Cam does, is he finds ways to escape the pocket, extend the play, and then find his guys downfield.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think there's just the system he's in Miami makes him not as much of a rusher. I think it just depends upon I think if he needed to be in more of a Josh Allen role, he could run the ball up the field. It's just not in that at Miami.
No, I think, okay, but to go back, and I agree with what you said, but just to go back and answer Josh's question quickly. Yes, I would take Bryce Young over Shedeur Sanders. I would not take him over Cam Ward.
Really?
See, I'm the opposite.
Oh, you are?
I'm the opposite. I'd take him over Cam. I'm not taking him over Shedeur. That's saying a lot for me not to take Bryce Young. So
I would take them over because I feel like there is a mental holdup in Bryce Young that maybe he'll get over, maybe he won't, and I would worry about that. But I absolutely hope that he is able to be better than both these quarterbacks.
Is that the first time that we've all had different opinions on this show?
I think so.
Potentially. Finally,
I feel like there's always at least someone that agrees with someone else.
Yeah.
And then very quickly, just to round out the primetime picks, the Chiefs survive against the Chargers 19-17 because of a doink in. Any of the other 31 teams that gets doinked out. And then the Bengals win the Simpson Bowl 27-20. Joe Burrow still technically the Triple Crown winner of quarterbacks. Jamar Chase still the Triple Crown winner of wide receivers. Neither won MVP or Offensive Player of the Year discussion. However, good news out of the off-field market kind of feel thing. T. Higgins has fired his agent and decided to go with another company. Apparently, his agent was pushing for $27 million. Bengals were offering 21. Guys, do the math. Settle on 24. Sign T for 3 years. We move forward. We have T. We have Jamar for the next 3 years.
Sounds good to me.
I don't know. It sounds okay to me.
I mean, I get your concern about the defense. I do.
I don't think we win a Super Bowl with T Higgins, Jamar Chase, and no defense. I think we win a Super Bowl with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and a defense.
The key, though, is to keep JB9 happy. And the first thing that he has openly...
Okay, Joe Burrow can be happy as he can be, but if we're not winning games...
No, I mean, I get it. But the thing is, you still have money to do it. Because next year, out of that $100 million that we've talked about, cutting people and everything else, say T takes $24 million of that, so that's still 76... We'll just say 70, 80 million in between there. You can spend that on the defense. You can spend that on the offensive line because Jamar's settled in at $22 million next year. Done deal because that 5th year. You don't start paying Jamar his money until the following year.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. You still got
I don't
money
think we
to
need
spend.
to waste as much time on this. I think there's a more important game to talk about, but I just disagree. The only thing I have to say is we've signed Geno Stone and Sheldon Rankins. Okay, maybe they were duds, but why didn't we know that before we signed them?
You're right. It starts at the top, and we've talked about that.
Yeah.
You got to clear the top. But I know what game you want to talk about.
I want to talk about the Rams and the Bills.
Yep.
And I don't blame you for calling it. I admitted that it was a very sketchy game because that Rams team is playing for their playoff lives. And I meant to mention when you were talking about the Seahawks, they definitely have a charging team, no pun intended, headed for them at the top of the NFC West. If this team can stay healthy, I think they will absolutely challenge. They still got a game against the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, no, they do. But you're absolutely right. I'd kind of written off LA based on the start to the season. Hadn't really been paying attention to the
They did the same thing last year too.
Yeah, I hadn't been paying attention to that win-loss column. I think they must be like a game back there or something like that.
Yeah, by the way, already put it on there. The game is January 5th. It's the last game of the season. That will be our Sunday night primetime game. And it will be Seahawks going to the Rams.
That will be a fun matchup potentially for that NFC West title. But just looking at some of these just basic stats, it's still beautiful just to look at the basic stats. 22 for 37 from Josh Allen, 342 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, but he wasn't done with the touchdowns yet as he had 3 more on the ground, which is 10 carries and 82 yards. Khalil Shakir had 5 receptions, 106 yards, and a touchdown on the game. We look over at that Rams team, though, 23 for 30 from Matthew Stafford, a little more accurate than Josh Allen, 320 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, one of them the Puka Nakua. And Kyron Williams also ran for 87 yards, got 2 touchdowns, 29 carries for Puka Nakua. Moving back to him, 12 receptions, 160 yards with that touchdown I mentioned earlier on a bye week for me. And now I face off against Alex. I'm sure he will get over 30 points again, or he had like 42, I think. I'm sure he'll get that again this week. Not, he'll get 10, and I lose. Anywho, enough about my fantasy team. This game was the game of the week, probably game of the month, honestly. I think
it might be even game of the year.
It could very well be game of the year. Offensive showdown. Back and forth. It wasn't necessarily back and forth. The Rams did hold the lead for a lot of the game, but the Bills, you always knew that chance of them coming back, and it was very much there until the end, but just did not end up in their favor. Love Josh Allen taking accountability, although I'm not sure he fully has to for this loss. I think it was just a case of Matthew Stafford turning back the clock and doing so in the interest of making a playoff run.
I almost want to be petty and be like, it doesn't matter what Josh Allen did. They lost. Remember? He plays defense too.
That's such a stupid analogy.
But is it not what he uses in the chat about a certain other quarterback who's leading in passing yards, passing touchdowns? He's got to learn. He's got to find ways to win games. Well,
that's not what I say about Joe Burrow.
Josh Allen lost the game.
That is not at all what I say about Joe Burrow. I say that the team loses games regardless of his performance, and you have to win games in order to be considered for the MVP. That's my only point.
Well, 9-8 would get him a winning record. I'm just throwing that out there.
If they win every game and they make it to the playoffs, Give me Joe Burrow for MVP.
Oh, no, that 100%. I will literally, everyone.
I agree with you. But my point is he doesn't have the wins.
Josh Allen right now is your MVP. That's 100% accurate.
It's just a consistent thing across sports. It was a very impressive
performance, which, by the way, he's also literally the quarterback of all my fantasy teams. So I'd love to see
it. Was a great week in fantasy for you after a rough year.
But I guess we'll move on to the six-pack or the primetime picks for this week.
Yeah, six-pack is – well, I guess we could still do some six-packs. But
we do want to clarify, since we're doing the show today on a Thursday, we're not going to talk Rams 49ers, but it is a very big game because the 49ers are still technically right there, and the Rams are also only a game back from the Seahawks. It is still wide open in the NFC West. You can't even kill the Cardinals off. They're still 6-7. They're only 2 games back. But technically 3, I guess, because they got swept. But
anyway, I feel like the NFC West is probably the most fun conference this year. I mean, definitely the best is obviously the NFC North, but the West, I think, is the most fun to watch this year. Definitely some arguments could be made there. But let's go ahead and run through it. We also the best games are all at 4:25, so the majority of it is 4:25. We axed one of the Monday Night Football games, so not our typical game of the week stuff, but we picked the best games of the week.
When you hear these 4:25 games, you'll understand.
Oh, good Lord. That's where we're starting at. We'll go with the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos, the Horse Bowl, and also a battle for the 7th seed currently in the AFC playoff race. That's being played at Denver?
Yes.
At Denver. Like I said, 4:25, just kicking off a beautiful slate of games. For this game, I am going to go ahead and go with the Denver Broncos. I will be honest, I'm not the highest on this Colts team. I know they're there, and they absolutely could prove me wrong, but I think this Broncos team is just a more solid team all around, and I think they get the win here.
Everything tells me to take the home team that plays on the outside. However, there's something that is just telling me that the Colts are not ready to go away, because they lose this game, they're basically dead when it comes to the playoffs. They'll be down 3 games to the Broncos plus a head-to-head, so it'll arguably be 4 games. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts.
Okay, that's fair.
Garrett, would you like to?
If you'll permit me to make a pick in Ben's stead. The past 3 games for the Colts, they played at the Jets, won the game by a point. They played against the Lions at home and lost by 18, and then played at the Patriots and won by a single point. Denver is playing way better right now than the Colts are, and the Colts are, even though they're finding ways to win by 1 point against these teams on the road, I just feel like Denver's a cut above the Jets and the Patriots this year, so give me Denver to win this game.
Yep, I love that take. Moving on to another 4:25 game, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Chargers. And in this one, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks, which are getting healthier, looking better on an upward trend, and I must say the Chargers getting a little injured. There's a little injury bug going around.
I'm sorry. It's so funny because I pulled up the matchup on ESPN and I look at the season leaders and all I see is Q, Q, IR, Q, Q.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's for the Chargers, you said?
It's for both teams.
Of them. Yeah, I was gonna say I think the Buccaneers are still
this
pretty
is the hospital
injury.
bowl.
It's injury bowl, of course, and so it really is. It comes down to that. I think Tampa Bay has the more explosive offense here. Could the Clippers slow them down potentially? But I am going to go ahead and ride with Baker and the Buccaneers.
Do I have to answer? We all know my answer.
I know what
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Clippers.
It's horrible. I'm taking the Chargers.
The Clippers.
I gotta ride with the Bucks because Baker's my fantasy quarterback, and I need a win here to move on to the finals or the championship, I guess. So come on, Baker, and Baker we trust.
Baker we trust. I am moving on down to the Buffalo and Detroit game. If this game is not on CBS or a Fox, I'm going to be very, very angry.
CBS,
who would you rather hear it called by?
Oh, I don't care. I'm just saying it better be on national television.
It's
give me
called
Tony
by
Romo.
It's
Yeah.
Romo
So it's
and
CBS
Nance.
game.
Yes.
I could. Okay, good. So we have Buffalo coming off a loss against the Rams, and we have Detroit coming off a near loss against the Packers. I am going to stick with the side that it feels like Detroit needs to drop a game before the playoffs here. And I think Buffalo coming off a loss is going to be twice as motivated. And give me the Bills to take the best team in the NFL down.
This is legit a possible rematch or preview to what's going to be going down.
It's the Super Bowl we all want to see.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
That is literally the Super Bowl I would love to see. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Bills get their win back after a disappointing loss last week, and they go in and they beat the Lions.
My only question with this game is, can the Buffalo Bills defense stop Sonic and Knuckles? I'm not sure if they can. I think they're fairly good defense-wise through the air, but I don't know if they'll be able to stop that 1-2 punch. So I'll save the graphic here. Give me the Lions to continue their winning ways.
That is the best nicknames in the history.
It really
is.
Because I've heard like Earth, Wind, Fire. I think that was back with the Giants, and like there was other different like names. That Thunder and Lightning, as cliche as that is, many players. No, Knuckles and Sonic by far easily the best nickname by a run back duo.
It's incredible.
And the wardrobe that matched on Thanksgiving.
Another in the last 425 game here, the Battle of Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Oh my God, I did that. Finals. That's all I have to say. Finals week, ladies and gentlemen. Pennsylvania. Battle of Pennsylvania.
Technically not wrong.
It's a battle in Philadelphia. Between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm never trusting myself again with geography. But I'm going to take the Eagles. I think the Steelers are a great team, but I think the Eagles are a better team. Sorry, Alex.
Saquon Barkley has a legit chance, by the way, to win the MVP if he can If he can break the rushing record, absolutely, and he's on pace to do it. He's got 1,600 yards. However, bad news for him. Steelers defense coming to town. I'm going to take Russell Wilson because he's better than Jalen Hurts and throwing to his number one wide receiver. And also, Jalen Hurts wants to fight with A.J. Brown over something that is very now well known because Brandon Graham let it slip. So go ahead and give me the Steelers.
I didn't know about that. Did not know about that.
Yeah.
I did hear Brandon Graham let something slip, but I didn't.
Like Josh, I also had Russ ranked over Jalen Hurts in my quarterback top 10. But I don't think it matters because Saquon Barkley is playing at such an elite level. Nobody has been able to stop him. The Steelers defense might be able to. I'll believe it when I see it.
I just want to know why we were all punished with all these games at 425. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm an NFL red zone guy. I'll be able to find a way to watch this. But, man, this is a loaded slate on 425. Move one of these games to 1 o'clock.
Yeah, or Sunday Night Football.
Or Monday night for these horrible matchups.
For good Lord. If you're curious, the Monday Night Football games, actually, we'll do the Sunday Night Football, but one of them was the Falcons and the Raiders. We were like, no, we are not picking that. Good Lord, that's almost a tank bowl. But for Sunday Night Football, it is Green Bay Packers, Seattle Seahawks. That's a big game for the Seahawks because they're looking to get separation in that NFC West, though we mentioned it's still wide open. This is a good way to do it by beating a Green Bay Packers team and put a statement out there. However, I think Green Bay coming off a loss is going to be – it's not a good time for Seattle, and give me the Packers to bounce back here and get the win.
I'm going to go with the 12th man in Seattle. It's just something special about playing in that place. I know Seattle's only 3-4. There's kind of a rivalry between these two teams, and there's some memories.
There's definitely some memories.
Yeah, there's some memories between these two teams, but just something about it. I'm feeling the Seahawks this week, so give me Seattle.
Yeah, you literally stole the words right out of my mouth. I was going to talk about just reminisce on the past 15 years, Seahawks Packers playoff games, or games to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just these two teams have had some incredible matchups. And because of that, I'm going to take the Seahawks because I like the Seahawks better than the Packers. Also,
so
the 12th man.
You're in my college football state of just picking which team I like.
Pretty much at this point, yeah.
Fair enough. And then for the Sunday Night Football game we thought was at least worth talking about. Monday Night Football game we thought was at least worth talking about. The Chicago Bears going up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, to be fair, I do have Minnesota winning here probably pretty easily, but don't sleep on the Bears. They tend to stay in some of these games, but the Vikings kind of rolling right now.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Vikings, and I don't think it's even close.
Yeah, if you're picking the Bears here, I don't know what you're doing, quite frankly. I mean, it's just two teams.
Nobody picked the Bears.
Two teams. No, never mind. These are two different teams that are playing at two different levels right now. Caleb Williams just needs a bit more time, but other than that,
and maybe a different coach.
Yeah, maybe also consistency at the coaching position in Chicago. Don't know if that'll ever happen, but yeah, the Vikings should be able to take care of business here, and that's what it is. It's taking care of business.
I did see that Bears' favorite to get a head coach might be Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions.
That'd be great for Caleb Williams, but I don't know if I want to see him
with
there.
those weapons of Keenan, Odunze, and DJ Moore.
Also, we'll get
so DJ Moore was the one we forgot.
Also, it would be interesting to see Dan Campbell rematch twice a year against his old OC from the year that they went absolutely nuclear and won the Super Bowl. Did I say that?
So you just spoke it out of existence. Thank you, Garrett. Anything else we want to talk about NFL-wise before we get into it? Let's not talk about the Bengals, or else this will end up being a 2-hour show. Yeah, that's all. Nothing over there, Garrett?
I think that's a good show, man.
Yeah.
I do want to say, though, one last time, again, congratulations, Colton.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ben, on graduating. And we're not sure what the future holds for the show, the four of us, how it's all going to work, what's all going to go on. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. We hit our 50 goal mark, and we wanted to do a giveaway of all 50 subscribers getting put in. However, due to YouTube and their rules of if you have a hidden account or a private account or your age or this and that, we couldn't see all 50. So we're going to maybe try to do another type of giveaway. But again, 50 was our goal by the end of this semester at least. And we're happy to reach that. So anybody who's followed us along the way, thank you so much. Obviously, Ben, thank you for everything you've done. This is, I believe, the first show we haven't had him. So I just wanted to make sure I say thank you to him too.
That guy's been in here every week, show in and show out, giving it his all. So, you took the words out of my mouth. There's nothing else I could say. But just reiterate, thank you guys so much for all your support and watching the show week in and week out. But that's all we got for today. So be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new, and check us out on Norse BW Pod at Norse BW Pod on Twitter or X. Also, Apple Music and Spotify podcast. Apple Podcast. Good God, it's a long day. But also, I just want to say again, thank you to all. Thank you, Josh and Garrett, for also all the work that you guys do. And thank you to NKU Media Services, Bill Farrow, for all the work you put in to make this show better each and every week. Without Bill, without NKU Media Services, let's be honest, the show probably wouldn't be here right now. So huge thank you to all of them and everyone. And just have a Merry Christmas, all right? Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year's, Easter, 4th of July, whatever. Just enjoy life. Have a good one, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace.